Okay, this is Mum's logbook. Tuesday, 25th of April. At 5 o'clock, phone call announcing move into Holy Spirit. Shock. Trish arrives 2 hours later, sets Mum into a spin. Mum tells her to get out and go home. Trish says to Mum, "You disinherited me," before ordering me to throw out clothes. When Trish finally leaves, Mum gets on my scooter and tries to leave in her socks. Tells me to come with her. It's fight or flight. Okay. Wednesday 26th, Trish returns to chaperone us to the Holy Spirit, smiling with vengeful glee because she hates both of us. Thursday 27th, 8 a.m, 2 loads carried to Dad's room while Mum's sleeping. 10 a.m, load of stuff with Mum to Dad's room. Noon, I leave because Paul is coming with Jean, arranged to stay until 1 p.m. I go home and ring Trish. She says Jean is returning at 4 p.m. So that's when I realise that Trish and Jean are in on it together. I go back to get Mum and take her to Ashfield for lunch and manicure to escape abuse. Friday 28th, Mum's bedroom door. When we come back, this is still Thursday 27th, Mum's bedroom door is open and they've looted her room. What are they looking for? Saturday 29th, packing, cleaning, fix washing machine, fix dishwasher, organise removals. So just packing. May the 1st, Monday, Mum moves first load into Holy Spirit. Friday the 5th, Nurse Anna sacked me on arrival and told me Paul was next of kin for Mum and Dad and chose their Mum's doctor, both their doctor, Dr. Hislop, and told me off for not being organised. So from the first day, Nurse Anna told me off and basically degraded me in front of Mum, and that just freaked Mum out. Saturday 6th, Mum says she wants her home and family back. She's lonely, scared when I leave. Sunday 7th, Mum hasn't slept in 2 nights. Wednesday 10th of May, Mum realised today she's incarcerated. She's angry, sad, wouldn't eat lunch. I videoed Mum in dining room speaking about her betrayal, blaming me. Staff asked me to turn camera off in dining room, and Mum was admitted to the ward. He is very loud and Mum doesn't like him. Mum doesn't want to live with strange men. So Mum would never have chosen to live with man, in a ward with man. She's a very modest, private woman. And she's separated from her husband. He's in another ward. And from the beginning they put her in wards with men. Oh, it's terrible. Friday 19th of May, Audrey mocked Mum at lunch. They sit her straight across from her while she bitches and whispers about Mum with Veronica. I've asked them not to sit Mum there, and they don't hear me. So they'd sit Mum in front of this, other resident who was really bitchy, like private school bitchy, head prefect, Audrey. And they would sit her in front of Mum, so Mum would have to watch her shunning her and mocking her. And they were sort of like trying to ban me from lunches at that point to, acclimatise Mum to being lonely and feeling abandoned. And I stopped doing that. I started, when I saw where they were seating her, I started to have lunches with her, meals. And I just thought, I kept telling the staff, don't sit her somewhere else so she doesn't have to be shunned and mocked all lunch. And they ignored me. They ignored me from the beginning. Right. Okay, Tuesday 23rd of May. Mum lost appetite. Mum has begun saying, don't hit me, don't hurt me. And wincing when I go to undress her. New behaviour, right? Don't hit me, don't hurt me. This is because of this rough manhandling she received. Okay, so that's May 23rd. Wednesday 24th, we visit Dad in Concord Hospital. Get a cab there and back. Thursday 25th. Mum's so touch traumatised from the showering in this Christina ward with Nurse Anna and her mob. You know, 2 people showering her, rushing her in, rushing her through. It was just like rape. And she was so traumatised by Thursday 25th, she wouldn't let the hairdresser rinse her hair. And that would be, the hairdresser can tell you that. And they were going like, making out like mum was difficult. Like, this is what they do. They traumatise her and then blame her. Traumatise her and then drug her. Friday 26th of May, it finally sinks into mum that she's been done. She says, my children put me under the dirt. She's very angry, wants her money. Saturday 27th, mum calls the Indian nurse. That was the one in the Christina ward, who wore the glasses, like the Harry Potter glasses. Mum calls the Indian nurse a killer, talks about how she shocks her, right? But I'm telling them this, and none of this is getting through. None of this is being reported, and they don't care, okay? This is why I keep a diary. Sunday 28th, mum yells at me for 2 hours, tells me to get moving on the paperwork, like for guardianship, like to save her. And here we are in January. Mum tells me I'm weak, puts a rocket up me. I stay up all night writing the application to the public guardian. So mum was driving me, man. She's terrified. Thursday, 1st of June, we're informed that we're moving to the Dominic ward tomorrow. Another move, another dislocation, but happy to be leaving the hell block. This was the punishment that Nurse Anna promised with sedation and high care of mum if she didn't behave. So she promised that in the 2nd week, right, when mum's first misdemeanor, when mum started freaking out about realising she's incarcerated, and mum went into someone's room and stole their comb and whatever, and Nurse Anna had threatened that if mum misbehaved, she'd be getting the dementia ward and medication. So they were already threatening her with this in May. And then by June, they come through on half their promise, right? The dementia ward, which of course is the preparation for the sedation after they get rid of me. Anna promised with sedation and high care if mum didn't behave. I insist we do it slowly in our own time, but it is a humiliation from the Christina ward. So it was like this walk of shame. It was like everyone had been told like we were leaving the Christina ward because mum was in disgrace, right? Mum was in disgrace. And it was like a walk of shame out of there. It's unbelievable. And, you know, we were hoping the next ward would be better, but in fact, it's the next ward, because it's a dementia ward, that took away all mum's rights. Friday 2nd, mum has a sense of punishment and no one likes her. Well, they don't treat her like they like her. She keeps saying, I'm innocent, like a woman condemned. From this point, I try to keep mum out, like down at my place at the granny flat, as much as possible. Saturday the 3rd, right, so 2 days after being moved to the new ward, mum poos all over the floor. First time I've seen this behaviour. I clean it up myself so mum is not disturbed by staff or embarrassed. Mum's degraded. Right, they're degrading her. Monday 5th of June, in the Dominic ward, mum will not even let them wipe her bottom. Totally traumatised on every level. I am taking her out as soon as I can and keeping her at home to give her rest from traumas. And that's what I did. That's what I ended up doing. I'd keep mum out with me until 8 o'clock at night and I'd get a taxi home with her, you know. And then finally I took her out. I took her out after, I took her out on Wednesday the 28th of June. And this is what happens. See, because when you know, it was like mum didn't want to go back and it would take me 3 hours to get her back. And, you know, it takes me 3 hours to calm her down. 3.5 hours to calm her down, to get her home. Mum is extremely traumatised. Okay, that's the 27th of June. 28th of June. I leave mum with dad to pick up runners for new flat. When I get back, mum won't move, is white with anger and is yelling at dad asking where the money is. Chinese nurse, that's a male nurse, but again they use the Asians as the enforcers, tells me that mum hit someone or staff and would not be taken back to her ward. So he sort of like tells me off and chastises mum in front of dad. It's a whole humiliation ritual. Mum is humiliated and chastised, I take her home. So I take her back to my place. I just think, this is enough. You're not going to do this to my mother anymore. Okay, so then Paul removes the rent. So this is a rent on my granny flat. The time Paul removes the rent from Dad's room. This is Saturday 1st of June. Paul removes the rent from Dad's room and gives it to reception, which is closed on the weekend, so rent is late. Trish has called the police on us, so landlord is nervous. Paul only leaves half the rent, $750. Forced eviction situation brewing. Patrick Tudhope then refuses to give me the keys to this flat, so they've cornered me from all sides, right? And Paul's leaving my rent at the office of the nursing home, like that's my new office or something. It's like they're all working together. It's like Paul sold us off, Catholic healthcare. So creepy, man. Oh, this is a quote from Mum. If things go lost, then I have to be found. And who are they? Points at herself. Gwen Kennedy. Awareness that a kidnapping is being hidden. You're thinking of those fights, people fighting, that's a worry. And then this is a quote on Friday the 7th of July in Burwood. I took her out for dinner. I'm Gwen Kennedy, they threw me away. Yeah, and then I say, yeah, they threw me away too. But you know, I'm not Mother. They threw away Mother. It's full on. Okay, so just to recap, at the first part of this log, diary, that takes us from the 25th of April and the week-long eviction from Mum's home into the Holy Spirit Nursing Home, where I'm sacked on entry by Anna, and where Mum goes through a series of traumas and humiliation rituals, and basically having her needs ignored. They were pushing even then for Mum not to sleep during the day, so sleeping was, you know, they like to keep them awake, just sitting on the chair like a vegetable, so they'll sleep during the night. I, on the other hand, like to get Mum out and about so she was naturally tired by the time she went to bed. Give her lots of stimulation and happy things to dream about. And lots of little naps during the day, which was her habit, which she loves. But all of this was sort of re-educated out of us, beginning to be re-educated out of Mum from the beginning. So there's a problem with that, re-educating a woman at 85 years of age with Alzheimer's. She should be able to have her own habits. So Mum found the environment so alienating, so grazing, and the incident where Mum told off Dad about her money and was humiliated, which happened on the 28th of June, prompting me to take Mum out of the nursing home until the guardianship hearing on the 21st of July. This gave the predator circle, which included Paul Kennedy, Trish Pugliese, Ramila Pockerel from the nursing home, who worked in with Nurse Anna, who sacked me, and then Patrick Tudhope, who refuses to give me the keys to the flat unless I take Mum back to the nursing home. So it has to be asked of Patrick Tudhope, what's in it for him? And it also has to be asked of Patrick Tudhope what role he played in the contract that got Mum into the nursing home, and then perhaps what role he played in the changing of Mum's will, and advising my father not to put my mum's name on her own property so that money could be used as bond. So yes, so that concludes the first leg of Mum's horror story, terror trail, from the 25th of April to the 21st of July, after which Mum was returned to the Holy Spirit nursing home and made a ward of the state.